on this episode of Podigious.
It's kind of interesting to see like how much people argue about the canonicity of Hurricane Touchdown, and just like this one's like, eh.
I mean, did you see Ball Trailmon? Like, nobody cares.
Who is this dude swirling around with the mask and the swords? Why should I care? Like, he's trying to be cool, but what's happening?
I mean, and also is sneezing onto someone's lips, is that an indirect kiss?
No, that's gross, is what it is.
Your password. You can use mine to get on the internet.
Podigious.
Your spirit evolve. We're all for one world, there's a world for us all. We're all for one world, there's a world for us all. Digimon.
Welcome to Podigious, episode 407, Darkness Before the Yawn.
Digimon Frontier, Island of Lost Digimon.
Recorded May 21st, 2017.
Podigious is your critically nostalgic, analytical tour to the Digimon anime. I'm Jeff Ruberg, and I'm joined by my fellow Trailmon, Ashley McDonald.
I'm Dark Trailmon. Always Dark Trailmon.
Not Dark Trailmon Ball.
No.
Astra Softman.
I guess I could be one of those, like, glowy, sparkly rainbow tank things.
Yeah, you could be one of Yes.
And Andrew Softman.
I'm just the mischievous Diesel doing things behind the scenes and messing everything up.
Nobody gets your Thomas references.
Yeah,
good.
Except actually we did all get your Thomas reference, shockingly.
I had forgotten.
That's because Jeff sucks.
The way Thomas the Tank Engine manifests in my life these days is that Hulu keeps trying to be like, continue watching Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it keeps trying to be like, continue watching Thomas and Friends. We're like, all right.
You mean you don't?
I know, it's weird.
This week, we're looking at the Digimon Frontier movie, so here's a quick recap.
The kids try to escape from Digimon Frontier by riding a non-canonical OVA, but end up getting trapped in a furry reenactment of West Side Story.
The kids get split up between Kendo Romeo and Kuma Juliet until the B-list characters get stuck cleaning graffiti with a fake news prophecy.
After finding out that Joan of Arc has been cosplaying as Buckbeak to revive evil Big Bird, everyone teams up and instantly forgets years of institutionalized racism and hundreds of casualties.
So yeah, this is usually the part of the show where I summarize in more detail, but like this movie doesn't really have much more detail to go into. That's the recap we just gave you is basically most of what there is.
We forgot the death of one of the characters, though.
Yeah, I mean, there is. If we wanted to go beat by beat, there's plenty more stuff to talk about. But that's the plot in broad strokes. So, what did everyone think? If you had to summarize it in 3 words, how would you? You know, I'm not going to do that. That's the thing when you have time to consider. Just what was everyone's general reaction?
It was bad.
It's awful. There was a point where I could not actually tell what was going on anymore. And it's not like I wasn't paying attention. I was just looking at the screen and I was like, what is happening?
How gullible were these kids?
Wait, okay.
I don't know.
Ashley, what was your reaction?
I think it's a bad movie. I do really like all the random Digimon in it, though. Like, I was like, yeah, Bearmon, yeah, Kodamon, yeah, Dinohumon, you're a Ninja Turtle. Like, awesome. I just like projected things onto them.
My general reaction was that I was surprised how much I liked it. I thought it was... I think,
please explain yourself.
Well, I think it's worth having different kinds of expectations going into a Digimon movie / OVA like this. I don't know if there's more of there definitely seems to be a trend in Digimon movies themselves. I'm not sure if this applies to other anime franchises, but a distinction between basically side story movies like this versus more,
sequels.
Yeah, sequel, but I'm just thinking, like, this movie follows in the trend of Tamers, where the first movie was, there is no second movie Frontier, but in looking at Tamers, the first movie was a kind of a random side story that was inconsequential to the rest of the story, but was kind of like a fun standalone adventure. And the second movie was more of a, like, checking in on the characters and much more based in the actual characters, and felt like an actual goodbye to the series and the characters as a whole. And I think that kind of applies to the season 2 movies as well, and not so much the first season movies, because the first movie in that case wasn't really a side adventure like this. But the second one, looking at the second movie for all of the first 3 seasons, Adventure Zero, 2, and Tamers, I think generally those are the kind of movies we like better. The ones that like are kind of a cap to the end of the series as a whole, and lets you touch in with everyone and see where they've gone a little bit. And this movie's definitely not that. It's definitely more of the side adventure, but I think it does that aspect well. I think it is a fun little self-contained adventure. It doesn't. I mean, if you're able to accept that it doesn't seem to fit into the continuity of the rest of the series, then I think it does that well, and it does seem like it's a plot that is enjoyable on its own. And sure, it's like a little bit hard to follow at times, but I don't know. It feels like it actually has like a genuine twist that isn't obvious from the beginning, and also I think one of the strengths that a movie like this can do is featuring, like Ashley said, a lot of random Digimon that a normal episode can never have this many Digimon. And I think it is just fun to see all of them animated, which, I mean, sure, if you're looking for like a character story, that doesn't really mean anything. But if you're just looking for fun stuff, I think it does that well.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like what a movie like this can do is bring to life a lot of Digimon that a normal standalone adventure in an episode can never do. Like, I think they are just looking. I mean, I don't know that I haven't heard this directly from like any interviews or anything, but I'm just like logicking through the basics of how this kind of thing generally works. I think that a normal episode, they are much more limited on how many character designs they can do. So even if they have designs of these characters from the card game and stuff, making character designs for the anime is a whole separate arduous task, because you need to, making a character design is not a simple thing, and not just drawing out a design's already been done. You need to think about how it can be animated by different in different angles, and it's a lot more complicated than just like taking the drawing in the card and drawing it again or whatever. So, and I think that animating a normal episode, they have a much more limited budget on like how many characters they can use. And I feel like we always ask this question of like, why aren't there more? Wish we got to see more interesting Digimon. And I feel like this is the time when they can do that. They can go more all out and have lots of Digimon. And
they only introduced like 4 in this movie.
There were a lot of them aren't given the spotlight and aren't given much screen time, but they're just there. There are tons of Digimon that are in the background. And
there's like 5.
I'm very skeptical of the number.
And then a lot of them were reused like as background characters.
Yeah, there are a ton of background characters. I mean, even if you look at like a list of Digimon that are featured in the episode, doesn't feel that extensive. Did you not get the sense of watching the movie that there were a ton of new and fresh faces?
No.
There were. And at the same time, I was like, I don't know who any of these characters are. None of them have been named. Who is this dude swirling around with the mask and the swords? Why should I care? Like, he's trying to be cool, but what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
That's if you played the card game, which was the only way to know. You would know that was Yashamon, who is Vmon with the Digimon Sincerity.
Oh, so he's Inuyasha.
Yes.
Yes, that's what you're saying.
But yes, I mean, first of all, a lot of the characters a lot of the Digimon that are in the backgrounds are armored Digivolutions, which is very similar to the first Tamers movie, which also had tons of the armored Digivolutions that were never shown before in the background. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that like as those Digimon in the background have no characters, have no interest, especially from our perspective.
The villains, I mean, the like Darkmon and Hippogriffamon barely have any character too.
At least they have lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have tons of character development.
Who was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy?
I love him. Dynahuman.
Dynahuman?
Dinosaur human.
Oh, I was hearing that like, what? Is that some play on Donatello?
Yeah, I don't know why he was a human type Digimon. I definitely was like, you're a beast. And then they were like, no, I was like, what?
Wait, actually, his name is literally Dino-Human.
Yeah, but I don't say it until like halfway through, or I didn't like hear it until halfway through.
I mean,
yeah, his name is Dino.
I mean,
human.
I mean, the distinction between human and beast-type
Kotemon is
Digimon.
basically just a smaller version of him.
The distinction.
They do not look at all alike.
Oh my God. The distinction between beast and human Digimon generally correlates
Makes
to
no sense.
standing versus.
Yeah, but then Grizzlymon was able to walk on 2 feet
right,
at
it's
multiple
not,
points.
Bearmon.
It's not a matter of like being able to walk on 2 feet or not, but like
Bearmon is always walking on 2 feet.
That's why I said generally. Generally, it correlates with that, but I mean, I think there are some obvious exceptions because it's not just two-legged versus four-legged. But like, because
It seems to be fur based.
fur, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at a comprehensive breakdown.
Do you have
But-
fur or not? Fur makes you a beast. Except that doesn't work for like.
Well, it certainly makes you a furry.
It certainly makes you furry.
Literally.
Exactly.
But I definitely think that just having a bunch of random background characters is not what appeals to us. It's not the kind of thing that we look for in media. I can see how that's like probably what they're aiming for with this kind of a thing, as kind of just a thing to attach to the rest of the franchise. And if you expect that people who are watching it have played the card game and all these other things, and like just seeing those characters in the background is enough to make them be like, oh, that's cool. Unfortunately, it's not really what we enjoy about media. So yeah, and ultimately, I think things like that just exist on that level don't really stand the test of time that much, don't really retain the fan love as much as the things that are able to balance that with character drama. You know, like I think it's the reason why everyone remembers our War Game and even Revenge of Diaboromon and the second Tamers movie over the, Hurricane Touchdown, over Island Adventures, and over this movie.
Wait, people don't like Hurricane Touchdown?
Is that a joke?
No, because how do you not remember it? It's like an hour.
I'm not saying like remember or like, I think it's just like, it's not critically loved. It is, most people hate it, but I do think actually Island Adventures and this movie do get kind of forgotten. I mean, this one, I guess we should briefly mention like the release history of it, that the movie, so what we all watched was the dub version, which was, this was originally released in Japan between episodes 14 and 15 of Frontier, and the way these movies / OVAs were released in Japan, actually, I should double check this, but the way they were all, it was part of Toei Animation's Summer 2002 Toei Animation Fair, which is basically a block of little mini movies like this that would air it. You go to a movie theater that was showing the Toei Animation Summer Animation Fair, Toei Animation Fair thing, and then there would be a collection
they
of
paid
movies.
for 3 movies.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the
And
other
one of
movies in
them-
this one were. It was probably another One Piece movie, because generally they were tied
Nope.
to.
I found a picture. It's Ultimate Muscle, which I am not going to pronounce in Japanese because I don't feel like doing that. And then I think the third one is Crush Gear Turbo, but it's just I can't find a good picture of it.
And I think this might actually be the last one that was part of the animation fair. I think this might have been the last year that they did the animation fair,
Yeah, it's like the last time they ever did it.
which probably is why the
Why there wasn't a second one?
Yeah, well, no, because So actually, this explains things. That up until 2000, there were spring and summer animation fairs. So summer generally correlated with the beginning of the near the beginning of a Digimon season, and the spring correlated or was the end of a Digimon season, which is why we have the Actually, I guess the first Digimon movie didn't fit into this, but our War Game would have been in the spring. Then Hurricane Touchdown would have been in summer, and then Revenge of Diaboromon in the spring. First Tamers in the summer. Second Tamers in the spring. First Frontier in the summer, and then there wasn't a 2013 spring. So 2003 spring. Anyway,
Yeah, it's Crush Gear Turbo.
apparently these animation fairs kind of started failing around that time. But yeah, so that's basically how it was released in Japan. And then in the US, it was never picked up until 3 years later when Disney had acquired the rights to Digimon and was dubbing Savers. And as part of building up the hype to dub Savers as Data Squad, they dubbed a bunch of the movies that hadn't been released in English. So starting with Revenge of Diaboromon and the 2 Tamers movies and this one, they dubbed them and got some of the old cast, got recast some roles to the other movies. I think for this one, the only character that had a recast was Takuya, which I'm curious, did anyone actually notice that Takuya is a different voice actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, everyone did?
What?
I
He's
didn't.
Henry.
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
serious?
is that who it was? I couldn't
was
figure it
Henry.
out, but it was weird.
He's Trailmon, Ashley.
What?
Yeah, he sounds like Henry when he's trying to be Takuya, though.
I totally, I don't know why I missed that. I guess if everyone else noticed it, I thought everyone else would be like, oh yeah, I didn't notice it, but no, it's just me.
Well,
He
it's
was
kind of
very
obvious.
much not Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's actually a trick. I wonder, has Michael Reyes reprised any role? Because he also didn't come back for Try recently.
Did he retire?
I'm not sure if he's fully retired. He definitely is doing, like he's an executive producer and writer on, I forget what it's called now. Come on. What's it called? I've watched like a season of it.
Mortal Instruments.
Yeah, the Mortal Instruments Shadowhunters, I think is what the TV show's called. Anyways, maybe he's not doing voice acting. But yeah, that's how it was released. And so a lot of people, like this came out 2 years after Frontier was on the air. So it, a lot of people missed it. A lot of people didn't see it when when it came out on Disney. I think I didn't watch it until I must have rewatched it. I must have watched it when I rewatched all of Digimon 9 years ago.
I actually watched it on TV.
Oh wow, aren't you cool?
Yes,
I did
I'm
not.
the coolest. Ash was in his no watching TV phase.
Wait, so Ashley and Asher, did you first watch this when you watched all the Digimon movies in college?
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna go with yes.
I still think that experience must have been so strange, like without rewatching the seasons recently, to like remind you who the characters were or anything. You were just kind of jumping from.
It doesn't matter. All these movies are strange, even when you do watch the things.
That's true.
Like I'm gonna forget who Dynahuman is in like a week. So I'm gonna.
So Angie, you had a comment earlier that the kids are gullible, too gullible.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Like, they literally get into a fight.
Yeah, but the fight lasts 2 seconds and then they forget about it.
They don't quite forget it.
But
But they're like, this is what we saw, and you're wrong.
I don't buy that. I don't consider that gullible. I think that makes total sense that they land in this place and only hear one side of the story and they buy that side of the story. And I don't think I think it would be even weirder for them to like hear one side of the story and be skeptical of it enough that they would be able to fit the two sides. I think it makes total sense that once they.
But it's not just the kids. It's everyone on this island. Like, where did Arcmon and Hippogriffamon come from? That they're literally that gullible to believe them.
I mean, okay, there's gullibleness in terms of like there's apparently like rumors that Darkmon is like is a descendant of ancient Garurumon and ancient Greymon. Which I don't know how Darkmon convinced everyone of that, but I think, you know, like them believing in the conflict isn't like, I think it makes sense that one person could instigate a conflict and that could spiral out of control from there. And I don't really think that's a matter of like them all being gullible. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, even when, okay, like you're given one side of the story and you believe it wholeheartedly, you get the other side and you're kind of like, okay, now I see these things, but like, it's always hard to square both sides of a story. Like you want to give in to one side more than another. Normally, I was like, I'm okay with this lazy premise setup.
I don't think it's actually a lazy premise. It does.
Jeff's gonna keep defending this movie.
In what ways is it lazy?
I mean,
Everything.
it obviously has to, like, it's a storytelling shortcut because it's like, I only have 40 minutes. You're just gonna accept this.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a storytelling shortcut of what?
Of, like, setting up a conflict and then having them artificially, like, they're in the middle of a larger conflict. And they're like, okay, how do we get them to also be part of the conflict? Oh, just split them up artificially.
Yeah.
And then have them only hear one side.
I think it's actually more unrealistic that they decided, oh, no, we definitely have to stop this without, like, having a real conversation about it.
Yeah. I think more realistically is they would be kind of convinced. The thing is, it really reminds me of, I can't put my finger on what it reminds me of, but and I couldn't find on TV tropes this articulated in TV tropes as a specific trope, but I think it's most reminding me of One Piece, where the structure of characters like landing in two different sides of a conflict, hearing one side and then like being totally convinced of it, and then once they meet up, kind of, you know, taking on that side and like getting a little bit competitive themselves.
We are completely talking about Skypiea, aren't we?
I'd actually forgotten. I was thinking of the giants on Little Meadow.
Oh, that was one episode.
Maybe.
No, that was an entire arc.
Fine.
It
wasn't an entire arc, but it was more than one episode.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
There's a whole fight.
It doesn't matter.
There's a whole thing with them being stuck in a giant candle cake thing, and Zoro trying to cut his legs off.
Posing.
I remember.
But I mean, the conflict of them actually being on two sides of a conflict doesn't actually last too long. But yeah.
Yeah, but at least with One Piece, it's more than 40 minutes, and they still flesh out everyone.
I don't know. I mean, what I think is frustrating and rehashed about this is it is the same conflict that has been mentioned and repeated so many times in Frontier that it's like every conflict is always a human type Digimon versus beast type Digimon conflict. And I think what's weird about this one, especially looking back, when you look, having just watched it, we don't have this perspective anymore. But before I rewatched this, when it had been several years since I watched it, I was kind of like, is this just a retelling of the story from the backstory of Frontier? But no, it's another one that looks very similar, but isn't actually that one, but is like. And even in the backstory of Frontier, there's the initial beast versus human conflict that Lucemon intervened to stop. Then there's the one with Cherubimon. When Cherubimon wants to like take power, he does it by reviving the beast versus human Digimon conflict. And there's this one. It's like, do you have any other tricks to pull out of your sleeve? Like, I mean, it makes sense when like that's been a recurring theme in the season that you want to feature that in the movie, but like,
But in some ways, this is cathartic because you're told several times in Digimon Frontier that this is a conflict. Then you go to the towns, and there's no conflict seemingly between those Digimon. And then here, it's like, yes, blatantly, Bearmon and Kotamon are like, we do not like this conflict. Like, you're like, thank you. Finally, somebody's like acknowledged it.
Right, and it's good that like the series mentions it as being a conflict in the World of Frontier so many times, but you never actually see it in the context of the show. You just like see a couple, like screenshots of the past, photos of the past, whatever. And this actually gives you a glimpse into what that looks like and why people disagree with it and why it's kind of silly and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make up for the show telling you a bunch of times and you're like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. Did anyone else think that when Takuya was sneezing in Koji's face that it was like oddly intimate?
Oh yeah, no, taking screenshots. Taking screenshots, I was like, it looks like they're gonna kiss. I gotta get it. Right.
I mean, and also is sneezing onto someone's lips, is that an indirect kiss?
No, that's gross, is what it is.
Yeah,
I was gonna say disgusting.
That's just disgusting.
Yeah. I guess I'll have more to talk about this in my section. I won't bring it up. One thing that I thought was interesting, worth noting, is that the title of the movie. So in the dub title is The Island of Lost Digimon, which, first of all, are the Digimon lost? Is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing.
I mean, they're lost because they can't get off the island, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
They're also lost because it's also between dimensions, whatever that may.
I guess.
Yeah, like they're just like.
Apparently, island is officially called, in the dub, is officially called the Lost Island, and in Japanese it's called the Wandering Island. So in that sense, they are the Digimon of the Lost Island. So they are lost Digimon.
Okay, I also just kind of think they're lost in terms of not really belonging to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Okay, yeah, there's that too. But like, it's kind of like the perfect, not perfect because it's not actually well executed, but it's the like encapsulation of a non-canonical OVA movie. Oh, a random island that's unstuck from time happened to. Actually, they don't say it's unstuck from time. They say it's unstuck from it's like between dimensions. I always kind of, my recollection of this movie was that it was unstuck from time, that like this conflict that they're kind of still stuck in the same conflict from the backstory of Frontier. But I don't think there's any aspect of them actually being unstuck from time. It's just happens to be a similar conflict.
I mean, they're just so unstuck from the world that it's the same conflict because it hasn't progressed. They don't know what else has gone on.
No, but I don't think it is supposed to be of like I don't think it's the same conflict that hasn't progressed. Like in Frontier, it progressed because the Legendary Warriors came in and resolved things and everything. I don't think it's that they are unstuck, so then they didn't get that progress. I think it's just they were fine, and then I don't even know how to pronounce the name. Murmukusmon came and
Murmix.
Yeah, they say Murmix.
Murmixmon.
It's Murmixmon into dub.
Well, I was trying to just pronounce because it's like spelled like Murmucus.
Murmikutsu.
That they basically come in and create the conflict. So I think it's mostly unconnected to the beast versus human conflict that's in the rest of the Frontier backstory. I guess we should address the Kumamon, the bear-shaped elephant in the room that is Kumamon's name.
Which Kumamon? Which one?
Okay, so in the Japanese version of Frontier, in all forms, there's Chalkmon, which is Tomoki's human spirit form, and a Digimon in this movie called Bearmon, which has a hat. It's the bear that has a hat that says bear on it. And there's
Excuse me, it says bears.
Oh, you're true. It says bears.
It's what what's her name is afraid of.
I think we lost you. But And then in the dub of Frontier, they changed Chalkmon's name to Kumamon, which is the Japanese name for bear, Japanese word for bear. But if you're just looking at the dub of Frontier, everything is still not that confusing. You have Tommy's human spirit form, which is named Kumamon, and the Bearmon in this movie with a hat that says bears, and everything is fine. The problem comes into play in that Digimon World 3 and then subsequent
AKA Digimon World 2003 in the UK for you UK people.
And
Go on.
So in that game, it prominently features Bearmon, which is the Japanese name, and the name in the dub. But in the game, in the English version of the game, they call him Kumamon. So
Oh, this is why I was confused. Yeah, because I played that game and I was like, isn't he called Kumamon in that though? Like, I'm so confused.
which is really strange. So if you so Chalkmon is a name that only refers to the Japanese version of Tomoki's human spirit form. The name Bearmon refers to the original Japanese name for this character in both the games and the movie. Or in the dub, just the name in the movie. And Kumamon is a name that only exists in the English dub, which is applied to all instances of Chalkmon and some instances of Bearmon. So it's confusing and it's a mess. And
Good job.
yeah,
Round of applause.
I suspect the reason these things come about is that, like, when a character is prominently featured, they want to avoid having a name that sounds so obvious it sounds silly. Like, I think Bearmon really borders on that because it's like, oh, he's a bear, he's Bearmon, cool. Like, I think it's a more...
He's adorable, and I think it works.
Well, by that logic, Hawkmon and Armadillomon would have more interesting names than Hawkmon and Armadillomon.
It's true.
And maybe it's hard for me to separate because I'm so used to those names and I've grown up with them, but I think those are, like, strange
Hawk
enough
is a
words.
cooler, yeah.
Whereas, like, bear...
Not if you live in Florida,
I think...
which are everywhere.
I mean, sure, I guess I'm not arguing that it's actually that consistent, but that... Yeah.
But then what about, like, Oryxmon?
Okay, Oryx
You remember
is
him,
not...
right?
No.
Oryxmon...
His original
name is Goatmon.
Goatmon.
So...
Right.
Right, but I don't... That's an inconsistent... I mean, my argument is basically that, like, it makes sense to change the name from the obvious... Like, it sounds ridiculous to say in English, primarily when it's a main character. So that's why Bearmon is okay in the movie when he's not that prominent of a character, but in the game where he's, like, one of the lead starting Digimon that they would want... I mean, I still think they shouldn't have changed the name there because then it makes it even more confusing to overload the use of Kumamon, but I assume that's the logic that was going on behind it. I probably shouldn't speculate that because, like, I'm just guessing that is an intent, and I don't actually know. I haven't even heard from interviews if that's a thing that localizers would have cared about, so never mind.
Jeff retracts all statements.
Yeah, I kind of do. And I think the canonicity in this movie, I think it's less up for debate than something like Hurricane Touchdown, for instance, but also matters less too. Like, I don't know if people particularly care about the canon timeline of Frontier. And I guess this movie doesn't really introduce anything that shakes things. Like the Hurricane Touchdown introduces Serafimon and Ophanimon. No, not Ophanimon, Magnagimon, Holygimon, and that, people care about that. Whereas this, like, if the events of this movie are canonical, it doesn't really matter to the rest of Frontier. So, yeah. I mean, it technically could fit into the timeline of Frontier, since the only beast spirits that are shown are Takuya and Koji's. And so Takuya and Koji have beast spirits, and Bokomon does not have Serafimon as egg. And so it could fit into right after Takuya gets Burning Greymon and before they go to the Forest Terminal. That is technically possible, but yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting to see, like, how much people argue about the canonicity of Hurricane Touchdown, and just, like, for this one's like, But maybe it's just because people care about Frontier less.
I mean, did you see Ball Trailmon? Like, nobody cares. Like, that's not a real Trailmon, though.
And now, our Coastal Clash game show segment, which is totally not similar to Family Feud at all. Wink, wink. And in this segment, we put out a poll on social media asking 10 questions. Normally, I come up with the questions and then I host the game show segment. This time, Ashley came up with questions and I'm going to be a participant, which is going to be kind of confusing and weird, but we'll see how it goes. We got at least one request from a listener to have me participate in, because I'm supposed, like, I mean, the framing is that it is the West Coast versus the East Coast, and Ashley and I are West Coast, Asher and Andrew are East Coast. and yet West Coast is always Ashley. So this time I'll be representing the West Coast. And yeah, I think that's about it. We are going to do one person at a time. I'm going to go first since I control the soundboard. So,
Hey, Ash, I have a question.
What?
What coast will you be on when you're in Israel?
You're still East Coast.
Well, I will be closer to the west coast of Israel, considering
guys,
Israel only has one coast.
Guys,
What?
we have a clear answer to this. You'll be the Middle East Coast. Anyway, I think we're ready to start Coastal Clash. Andrew, I guess you should take out your headphones and we will message you on Slack.
All right, you know what? I'm taking over now, and Jeff's going to answer my questions. All right, do you have the first answer set open?
I do.
Okay, the first answer set, all the questions are about Trailmon. Hold on.
Wait, so I have the image, but like these don't have names on them, so...
Wait, do you need their names?
Yes! I don't remember all the names.
Do you normally attach their names?
Well, if you say a description, we'll fix it later. How about that?
All right, Jeff, wait. I'll give you a list.
Okay, yeah.
Something, I guess.
I need something.
Andrew will need it too.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, Jeffrey. The first question is, which Trailmon is most off the rails?
Dark Trailmon.
Which Trailmon would most likely have been transporting nuclear waste and gotten trapped in the collapsed tunnel in Hanford, Washington?
Ball Trailmon.
Which Trailmon is most excited about the new bullet train line connecting Hokkaido to mainland Japan?
Buffalo.
Which Trailmon is most jealous of the flashy war machines used in this movie?
Buffalo.
Which Trailmon is most disappointed in Amtrak?
Worm.
Alright, that's the end. Pause.
Okay,
so on to the second set of questions. How much time do you have remaining?
I have 19 seconds remaining, but also I need names for these, definitely.
What? You don't know the second set?
Oh my god. No, we don't...
Jeffrey, you've said all of their names.
We have not mentioned Grizzlymon once, first of all. And is the top left Dinohumon?
Yes.
So Dinohumon, Darkmon, Kotemon, Grizzlymon, Hippogriffmon, and Bearmon?
Yes.
Okay. we did not mention Grizzlymon once, so I don't think it's obvious that I would know that name.
Oh my god, are you serious? You're the one who liked this movie. Just remember that.
Okay,
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The first question is, who is most excited to get off the Lost Island?
Bearmon.
Who is the biggest Trump supporter?
Trump supporter, hold on. Darkmon.
Who's most likely to cry while watching The Fox and the Hound?
Kotemon.
Who belongs most on the Island of Misfit Toys in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Bearmon. Was there one more question? Or two more?
There is one more question.
Well, ask it to me, but it not going to cover points.
Who's most excited for the reboot of American Idol?
Darkmon. I have to say, this was extremely frustrating trying to control the soundboard at the same time.
All right, let's get Andrew.
This is not a fun experience for me.
I'm sorry.
Well, welcome back.
Now you know.
No, what I've learned is that trying to control the soundboard and playing is a terrible experience. I feel like it would not have been that bad if I did not have those multiple responsibilities while answering.
All right, Andrew, do you know all the Trailmon, or are you gonna be a butt about this?
I know all the Trailmon.
Okay, see? Andrew's better at this than you are.
Just from the image, you're going to be able to answer within a split second?
Well, we'll find out.
I mean, so in the Slack chat, there's all the names lined up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture.
I looked at the picture and the list of names at the same time.
Okay, I'm looking at both.
All right, first question. Which Trailmon is most off the rails?
Seriously? Franken.
Which Trailmon would most likely have been transporting nuclear waste and gotten trapped in the collapsed tunnel in Hanford, Washington?
Angler.
Which Trailmon is most excited about the new bullet train line connecting Hokkaido to Japan, to mainland Japan?
Raccoon dog.
Which Trailmon is most jealous of the flashy war machines used in this movie?
Kettle.
Which Trailmon is most disappointed in Amtrak?
Mole.
Alright, end of round one.
Okay, 24 seconds on the clock.
24 seconds left. All right. Have the second answer set open. Do you know who these people are? Because Jeff didn't know either of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I mostly just panicked. I was like,
Okay.
wait, I can't recall the names right away, but I...
Oh my god. All right. This is about the movie randos, as I like to call them. The first question is, who is most excited to get off the Lost Island?
Kodamon.
Who is the biggest Trump supporter?
Grismon.
Who's most likely to cry while watching The Fox and the Hound?
Bearmon.
Who most belongs on the island of misfit toys in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Dino-Humon.
Who's most excited for the reboot of American Idol?
This is the last question.
Darkmon.
That's the last question.
Oh, okay.
It's not how you spell the Snake Masher. That's why it didn't show up.
What about this one?
This is also wrong.
So did I answer them all?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you did. And all right. I guess now this is the part where we go through and see how badly you did. Give me a second. All right. So the first question. This is actually shockingly closer than I thought it would be based on Jeff's performance. But the first question is, which Trailmon is most off the rails? Jeff answered Dark Trailmon, and Andrew answered Franken. They both got the same amount of points, but that was not the highest answer. The highest answers were Ball Trailmon. That was second place, I think because it looks the most ridiculous. And the other one was Angler, which I assume is people answering because it's the one that you see literally not on rails the most in Frontier.
I guess I thought Dark Trailmon is like not off, he's totally on rails. It's just like unknown and like yeah.
Yeah, so you guys got the tie for third was the two that you said plus Mole for whatever reasons. Second question was, which Trailmon would most likely have been transporting nuclear waste and gotten trapped in the collapsed tunnel in Hannaford, Washington? To which Jeff said Ball Trailmon and got 0 points. And Andrew said Angler. The obvious answer to most people, well, actually I was surprised. The obvious answer seems to be Mole, right? But it was tied first with Dark Trailmon, again, for whatever reason. And then Franken, Angler, Raccoon Dog, and Kettle all got the same for third.
See, I
Yes,
figured
there's
that,
not, it's like, what?
I don't know. I had no idea what the story was you're referring to. So I was like, who would be
well,
like
that's
the least
sad.
competent? I guess Ball Trailmon. I don't know.
No, it was because
Well,
it's...
Ball
no.
Trailmon wouldn't be able to pull anything.
Yeah.
Right. So who
Your
gets
answer
trapped
made the
easily?
least sense.
Who gets trapped? Like, I don't know.
Well, why would he have been transporting the nuclear waste? Who would have authorized him to transport the nuclear waste in the first place?
I was so confused by the question existing that I didn't think through. Like,
You didn't hear about this?
no.
Well, you suck. The third question is, which Trailmon is most excited about the new bullet train line connecting northern Hokkaido to mainland Japan? Jeff said Buffalo for 15 points, and Andrew said Raccoon Dog for 30 points. The highest answer was Raccoon Dog.
Buffalo looks the most like a Shinkansen.
Second place was Buffalo. I think people thought Raccoon Dog was Shinkansen for some reason.
I mean, I guess
He
Buffalo
is very Shinkansen, like...
none of them are very Shinkansen. Like,
Raccoon Dog is pretty Shinkansen.
There's different shapes of Shinkansen, you know, right? Or, well, trains.
yes, there are different types of trains.
I
I
think
know that.
Buffalo...
I mean, Shinkansen.
I don't think Buffalo looks most like a Shinkansen. I disagree.
Aside from the horns, definitely are not Shinkansen-like, but I mean, generally Shinkansen have a very long, not like explicitly pointed, but a very long, like stretched out nose, which none of them have.
Yeah, but I feel like Raccoon Dog is the most coming closest to that shape.
But it's only because it's rounded, and it's like the rounded part is not it's the like elongated. Whatever. Neither of them are that close, so it's not really a relevant or important point.
You wrong. The next question was, which Trailmon is most jealous of the weird flashy war machines used in this movie? To which Jeff said Buffalo, and Andrew said Kettle for the same amount of points. The highest answer was, oh god, it's hard to look at, Worm. I don't know why. Trailmon questions were great. I love them. And then it was a tie between Buffalo, Mole, and Kettle for second place. The last Trailmon question is, which Trailmon is most disappointed in Amtrak? To which Jeffrey answered Worm and got 11 points. And Andrew answered Mole for 4 points. And the highest was Dark Trailmon. By a lot. And then second was Kettle.
I really didn't know what to expect.
I mean, all of these answers like didn't have very highest things.
Yeah,
right?
because they're no.
Like,
Doesn't
all pretty
look like
spread
it.
out.
I mean, Dark Trailmon has 8, and then Kettle is second with 5.
Percentage or number of votes?
Number of votes.
Okay. I don't like to talk about number of votes because that's not normalized to percentage.
I don't know, but like, sure, most of these are spread out, but in most of them, there's also clear like first place person.
My
To
connection-
which like you and Andrew failed to answer most of them. All right, on to movie rando questions. Who is most excited to get off the Lost Island? Jeff said Bearmon for 104 points.
Wait,
And Andrew said Kotamon.
we should mention that the points are doubled in this.
Points are doubled.
Yeah, so that's 52%, 104 points.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's the highest answer. Yes,
Really?
by
Huh.
far.
It was a total
Followed
random
by
guess.
Darkmon, which didn't make any sense to me.
See, I
Followed by-
almost
and
guessed
then
Darkmon because I was
Kotamon.
like, oh, that would make sense as a villain motivation to get off the island. But wait, no, that's not what
But
Darkmon wanted
that's
to
not what their
It was the opposite.
motivation is. Yeah. Then who is the biggest Trump supporter? Jeff said Darkmon for 44 points, and Andrew said Grizzlymon for 22. The biggest answer, which I was actually surprised by, is Hippogriffamon by a lot.
Because he's a hippogriff.
Yeah, I guess hippogriff sounds like hypocrite. So
I guess if I had been answering this on my own, I would have said Dinohuman, because I feel like Dinohuman is the most susceptible to being like manipulated.
Well, they all
whatever.
are.
oh, I guess I was thinking of like Trump. Like Darkmon is similar to Trump, but I guess it is like about susceptibility. Huh.
I
Yeah.
don't know why I picked Grizzlymon. I feel like bears are just like this like middle America thing.
Okay.
I don't know why.
What?
I don't know.
You know
Cool.
where I think you got that, Andrew? I think you got that from Oregon Trail because you had to shoot bears in Oregon Trail.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
I made America great by killing all the bears.
Yeah. Who's most likely to cry while watching The Fox and the Hound? Jeff said Kotamon for 67 points. And Andrew said Bearmon for 104 points. And I'm pretty sure
Which is right.
those were the highest two, yeah. I actually was hoping that Kotamon would be more even, because I was like, doesn't Kotamon cry in this movie? But I guess everybody remembers Bearmon crying about Kotamon dying. Or whatever. Yeah. And then, who most belongs on the island of misfit toys in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Jeff said Bearmon, 22 points. And Andrew said Dinohuman, also for 22 points. Pretty sure that's not the highest
Wait,
answer
what is the-
either
what
than
is-
Kotamon.
Wait, what was this
Kotamon
question?
was?
Oh.
Yes, apparently.
Wait, no,
By a lot.
but what?
Followed
I'm so confused.
narrowly in second by Hippogriffomon.
I mean, like I haven't seen that movie, but I
What?
figured like Kumamon is the closest to being a toy.
No, but they're supposed to be like broken, messed up toys that nobody wants.
Oh, well, it would have helped us have known about that movie.
I felt like Dinohuman is the most action figure-y.
Yeah, you were thinking
I mean,
about things that would make good toys. You were supposed to think about things that make bad toys.
Hippogriffamon would be a good toy.
Well, apparently people disagree with you. I mean, that was the second place answer. Kotamon is the
Well,
first place answer.
It would especially be good if he was a transforming toy.
Whatevs. Who's most excited
Yeah.
for the reboot of American Idol? Jeff got 0 points. And Andrew said Darkmon, which put him ahead with 67 points because he actually got to answer the
Wait,
question.
didn't I say? Oh, I was like, I did say Darkmon,
didn't
but I
get
didn't.
scored.
It wasn't for points.
Darkmon was the highest answer. I don't. Why though? I don't. And then Dinohuman was second, followed by Bearmon.
I think it's a gender thing.
Oh, okay. I see. I wasn't thinking about that aspect.
I mean,
All right, Jeff. You have valiantly represented the West Coast to another failure for us. Good job.
but only 25 points off, 26 points off.
It's true. It's mostly because you both sucked at it. Actually, the Trailmon questions really threw you off. Apparently.
Yeah. So now we have a Patreon topic. which we are calling expanding or limiting the lore. So we got a couple questions. First one is from Marcus, and he asked, do you believe this narrative help or hurt Frontier lore-wise?
I guess as we discussed in general discussion, I do think that it helped a little bit with the show constantly telling you, like, oh yes, there's this conflict between beast and human spirits that you never see. Oh, here it is. Like, finally.
Yeah, but this would have aired, like, before the episode that finally does explain that that happened.
That's explained in, like, episode 4.
Yeah, that's episode...
Oh, it was?
Yeah. I mean, I forget exactly how it changed
because
each time.
Pokemon
but, like,
explain it in the Candlemon village. They hear it the first time.
Oh, yeah. But we don't see it until, like, the Cherubimon fight
no.
or something.
So the point, what they explain in the Candlemon episode is that they explain that Lucemon was there. Lucemon stopped the war between human and beast type Digimon. Then Legendary Warriors came, then passed off power to the Celestial Digimon, and then Cherubimon went evil. That's what they explain then. What they show later is Cherubimon, how he went evil by, rounding up an army of beast type Digimon. So I don't think they never actually go into more detail about the beast and human war that Lucemon stopped. Yeah. And thing is, thinking of it from a lore perspective, I feel like this doesn't, add or subtract from that, because it's just like, it's a separate thing that mirrors it in some ways that like feels shoddy when you think about, oh, isn't it convenient that it's the same exact conflict? And it is nice when you think about it as like, oh, at least we got to see a shadow of the conflict. So it's like nice and sloppy from different perspectives, but doesn't really, in terms of the lore that we've seen of Frontier, doesn't really add or remove from that. It almost feels like, well, we ran out of space to actually show that conflict in Frontier in the series itself. So I guess that's something we can explore in this movie. So from that perspective,
I guess the confusing thing is like ancient Greymon and ancient Garurumon feel like they should have been mentioned, but otherwise I'm like, whatever, everything else could be easily left out of this.
Yeah, ancient Greymon, ancient Garurumon seem like the weirdest aspect, which we haven't really mentioned yet, and they feel like the weirdest aspect of it because I don't really see how it doesn't really make sense how they are involved with this island that is distinct from everything else. I guess it could be just the island that they are from. Like I could see a vision of the Frontier lore that just, like all the different legendary warriors, the ancient legendary warriors come from different aspects of the world, and they are the special ones because they came from this special pocket dimension or whatever. And this just happens to be where they're from, and that's why, like, before they got involved in the Lucemon conflict, they did this thing back home of defeating Ornusmon. That's not really spelled out, and it kind of just seems like, oh, we're dealing with ancient stuff, so here are some of the ancient Digimon, here are the most important ones, because ancient stuff. And
no one cares about the other 8. It's
true.
It would have been more interesting if it was 2 of the other 8, I think.
Yeah.
The only one, the toy line only cared about 3 of them, and it was fire, light, and darkness, and that was it.
I think that's what the show cared about.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was room for that, and it didn't seem like they wanted to explore it at all.
Yeah, it goes with the next question, actually.
Oh, right. Right. Okay. So the second question from our Crimson Mode was, do you think they should have added the other original Legendary Warriors instead of having only 2? Also, do you think they could have used this movie to give the other kids their fusion forms, even if it were only for one-time use? Like throw them a bone or something. Takuya and Goji got everything. That is like the idea of the other kids getting fusion forms it's a really interesting idea, because like I hadn't considered that before. And what I was saying this movie excels in is in being able to animate all these different designs, which like they don't have time or budget in a normal episode to do. But like if you're using that logic, it seems like the perfect time to introduce those fusion forms. And
okay, wait, what's a fusion form?
The combining the human and the Altamon and Beowulfmon.
The hybrids.
Oh.
I think.
Okay.
I think if you look on like Digimon Wiki classification, all of the spirits are quote unquote hybrid Digimon. So hybrid is a weird term, but
I forget about those because they only use them for like a little bit.
It is. I think it does amount to like 10 episodes though.
Altamon?
Yeah, and they keep doing it.
Maybe I just block him out because I don't like him.
but then they actually keep using them after they get to because the whatever it's called, the ones that actually take other people's spirits, they don't use all the time because that means the other ones can't fight. So later in the series, like during the Royal Knights arc, when they want to have the other kids fight too, the Takuya and Koji typically use Aldemon and Beowulfmon, I think. And then they occasionally still use the base human form as well, I think. But yeah. Ash, do you have any thoughts about these questions?
No.
Wow.
But I have something to say. You do not want to see Jet Sylphimon animated.
I don't think I want all of the legendary warriors to have come up in this movie. I just want 2 different ones that have been chosen.
Well, okay, no, but trust me, you do not want to see Jet Sylphimon.
We're talking about 2 different things in parallel. Jet Sylphimon is the people who don't know, which is probably most of us, Jet Sylphimon is the fusion form of, I guess, of...
Wind.
Right, of wind.
Just say wind.
Combining Kazemon and Zephyrmon. And I don't really know why we don't want to see it. It has a giant pinwheel and a plane on its head, but...
don't look at the chest area.
Are boobs like something?
Are the boobs like something? Quote Podigious.
Something silly. You know what? I just can't today.
I'm looking at...
It's like a Katy Perry outfit.
Like, it has propellers on... Has little propellers on the nipples, right?
Yeah.
Please animate that.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I want to say, like, it would be weird for them to get fusion form that's only used in this one battle, but that is exactly what happens with Seraphimon and Seraphimon and Magnagimon / Hologimon in the 02 movie, which I guess people didn't like.
Yeah, that's true.
But people don't like that now. I'm not sure what the fan reaction to it was.
Well, the problem with that was they were forms to literally give something away.
Yeah, they didn't do much fighting themselves. They just unlocked something else.
Which made no sense.
That's true. So it would have been nice. It would have, I don't know. It's frustrating how this movie like so closely parallels the main series in terms of Takuya and Koji getting to do stuff and everyone else. Like the point where it was like, wait, Takuya and Koji are off doing fighting stuff and everyone else is in the cave. I was like, seriously? Like...
It felt like JP and Zoe were gonna have a cool moment when they like discovered Darkmon is Hippogriffamon and like informed all the people. Like they stood atop the mountain thing and we're like, we have discovered the secret. And I was like, okay, you did, but you're not going to do anything cool after that, are you? And that was true.
They attacked.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
I shouldn't be too dismissive of them being in the cave because, like, I feel like them discovering things in the cave was kind of essential. Like, that was the more interesting thing to be doing. Like, Takuya and Koji, while they were doing that, were just kind of being like, no, don't fight. So, like, it kind of, like, even though they were, like...
They weren't even being like, no, don't fight. They were like, we're just going to destroy your weird war machines. No, we're mad now.
So even though they were, like, it seemed like they were relegated to the kid, they were doing the thing that was more interesting and was more essential to the plot mystery of the movie. So that's at least kind of cool, but...
I was also confused because Bokumon, like, immediately starts reading things, and then I was like, okay, wait, do people on this island not know how to read? I guess that's possible.
No, I think it wasn't like I just think it was like an older style of writing, which they didn't actually state, and
also, it was all kid Digimon.
That were around?
That went into the cave?
Yeah.
There's something... Wait, the book?
No, the wall.
How does the book... No, but how does the book know anything about this island if no one's allowed to leave?
Shh.
That's an unanswered question.
Yeah, hold your unanswered questions. Yeah. Also, I mean, just on the topic of Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon, did anyone else? So when they, I mean, I guess in the end it turned out to just be totally false that Darkmon was a descendant of. But at one point, like, I guess actually this is kind of interesting that both the human side people were saying that Darkmon was a descendant of Ancient Greymon, and the beast people were saying that Darkmon is a descendant of Ancient Garurumon. But like, if both of those were true, then that would mean that like they, you know, like if both of them are ancestors, doesn't that mean that like they hooked up to produce them? I guess it's all hypothetical because it's not like
Digimon...
I was wondering about that.
I mean, it's all hypothetical because like Darkmon was lying.
Well, Darkmon could be a lab experiment.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I started going down this route. While I was watching because I was like, does that make like Takuya and Koji an incest ship? If they're like ancestrally really related, but it's still Digimon, and is that Digi-incest? But it was all
Digi-cest.
It was all fake news anyway. So yeah, it would have been I'm just thinking about like the way that the Tamers movie was able to focus on Rika in a way that still let us see things. I guess Henry was basically shafted by that movie. But we still got to we got some Rika stuff, we got some Takato stuff. It would have been nice if this movie had, instead of being like Ancient Greymon, Ancient Garurumon are the centers, to have centered on, centered some aspects on the other kids and then featured the other, like instead of just being like, the two most important ones are the most important ones. So that's frustrating. This movie is generally not the most creative. I still like it in broad strokes. I still think it is a compelling setup, but it is definitely not like...
Certainly not the most creative.
It's kind of... it's visually creative, though.
Yeah, no one really expected
it's weird.
Gaudy firework tanks.
Yeah, I really don't know what's up with those.
So Gender.
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 Is that how you pronounce it in Geef land?
Excuse me, my name is Geff. My name is...
Geff-land, is that how you pronounce it?
My name is Definitely Geff.
Definitely Geff, okay. Cool. So I titled this Gender as a Spectrum just because I thought the most interesting aspect of this movie before it came to its conclusion was that Darkmon and Hippogriffamon are the same Digimon. It's just a slide evolution. And I was like, oh wait, but then they slide to a different gender, and that's really cool. But then, of course, the implications of them being evil and using it as a tool of deception is like not cool.
I mean, it didn't even strike me as, I thought it was slide evolution at first, but it seems that Myrmixmon just does whatever, becomes whatever, and they said he was a he.
Right, that is what he's... Yeah, that is what they said in the end. But I think when I looked it up on Wikipedia, it said it was a slide evolution.
Well, okay.
It definitely looks like a slide evolution.
I think they definitely say slide, like when Darkmon does it, I'm pretty sure it says slide evolution, or they say slide evolution or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's just supposed to be a ruse. But it also was a ruse that didn't really make much sense, because when it happened, I didn't question it, but then like later when they revealed that it was just Myrmixmon being able to appear as a Digimon, like slide evolution is a thing that spirits have, that you're like transposing the spirit. So it doesn't, whatever, it's weird. It's a weird concept. It's not outside of the normal possibility that Digimon could do that naturally, but whatever. Oh wait, actually no, they do. Well, I think if you look up slide evolution, there are like examples of other Digimon doing it. Like I'm pretty sure, whatever. Keep talking, I'll look that up.
I mean, it just presented again. I was like, no, I wish the actual show could have let there be mixed gendered slide evolutions. That would have been cool. But I guess I don't like it for evil people because it's kind of like plays into the stupid fear that everybody in America has about like, whatever, gender neutral bathrooms. Like, oh my god, you could be pretending to be a different gender and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up!
Yeah. The thing that the whole pretending, it reminds me of, there's an episode of South Park like 2 seasons ago that I found, like when I watched it, I found it incredibly offensive. But then I actually heard later that like some people in the trans community actually thought it was a decent and like funny look at trans issue and trans and bathroom issues, which I was like totally surprised by, because the premise of it is the Cartman pretends to be a girl in order to get to use the better bathroom, and when like pressed on it, he's just like, no, you can't tell me I'm not a girl, and it's like, and then he's like, secretly like, yes, haha, I get to use the girl's bathroom, and I'm like, this is not, how is this is just perpetuating the myth that people would do this when no one would actually do this. And yeah, the point is that Cartman is supposed to be an asshole, but it doesn't actually like, and the whole thing's super frustrating because it's like, yeah, theoretically you're supposed to be like, Cartman is an asshole, but what it instead teaches is that like assholes will do this, when in reality I don't think that's a real concern, but people are, use hyping up that as a legitimate concern as their platform, and
yes, because people are terrible. Also, I will preface it with Asher and I lived in areas where there were gender neutral bathrooms, and it was fine. And then I guess the other gender aspect that was notable but also terrible was Zoe was like very much played for laughs in this movie in almost every scene.
Really? I didn't even like take note of that, because I guess I was just like, that's what I consider standard now for Zoe.
The movie opens up with her being on Ball Trailmon with like her butt in the air is the angle that it shows you, because she's like draped across him, and everybody else is like sitting normally, like normal humans or whatever.
Oh, well, that is a thing. I did not notice that.
Yeah. Then JP like literally runs into her butt at one point
Oh, yeah, that was.
when they're walking up the
Yeah,
stairs.
that was awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
I think I remember May complaining about that.
I mean, as May should.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it honestly could have been worse because JP for his part did not like seem to play it up that much. He was basically just like, "Why did you stop?" Like he wasn't like, "Oh my god, I got to put my
I reached the sweet
face in her
zone."
butt." Yeah, like he didn't say something super gross, or he wasn't presented as like being blushy or anything. I don't think.
That's a new
So,
high
you
for
know,
Frontier, not being.
That's a new high for Frontier right there. Like, woo.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just feel like those two were the biggest, but like I think also when she's fighting, there's, you know, silly butt moves that happen that are ineffective. That's all Asher has to say about this. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, generally, I was actually very, very confused because the first thing that we see of Darkmon is her being like, okay, can't you just see that hatred will breed more hatred? Like, we need to stop this. And then the next scene that we see her in, she's like, all right, yep, we gotta go beat the beast Digimon. And I'm like, what? I'm so confused. But like, initially watching the first scene, I was like, oh, of course, the female Digimon would be like, oh no, we have to stop fighting with each other. Can't you see it's all just madness? Like, boo, Digimon, you can do better.
I mean, it could be the dub writing.
I mean, I think I understand that your frustration is that like female Digimon being the most like, no, don't fight, fighting is bad. But like, my first reading of that is like, she is the only one that knows what's going, like the only one that is smart enough to like.
Okay, there was also that. But it was still that only her and the two children were presented as being like, no, we shouldn't fight at all. And it's playing on, like, innocence and innocence, basically. Like,
Women and children are never lumped together, Ashley. What are you talking about?
Never. I know.
Especially not on the Titanic.
I did kind of like when, you know, the adults come and they're like, Kotamon and Bearmon, you cannot be friends. And then they, like, get led away by Grizzlymon and Dinohuman. I was like, that's kind of cute. Fatherly something love. I mean, it's bad, but kind of cute.
Looping back a bit to Darkmon's gender in general because of, how do you pronounce Myrmixmon, clearly identifying as male. On the one hand, like, yeah, slide evolving between the two kind of at will and not, you know, like being between genders is interesting. But the aspect that I found a little uncomfortable is like a dude donning a female mask in order to manipulate people.
Deceive.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Which I guess was what you mentioned about like that it's frustrating to perpetuate a myth that people will do that, that being transgender is just a deceptive mask instead of reflecting their reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk more about the beast versus human conflict, and we've talked about it, you know, in general, bounce around it. So, but there are a couple of different points I wanted to look at more. And I mean, I guess we haven't talked that much about just like Darkmon, like the twist that is Darkmon manufacturing the conflict between the two sides. And I thought it was a effective twist. Did anyone else see it coming?
I did not see it. I mean, upon going back for screenshots, there is one moment where you could have suspected it.
Where, like, you see a transformation off screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where there's glowy gold and then suddenly she's stepping in,
Yeah. But maybe it's just because I was so convinced by Darkmon being the point of rationality initially that I was like, come on, yeah. And then once Darkmon was advocating for violence, I was like, no, what are you doing, Darkmon? You were cool. I thought you were the coolest one. Why are you not cool anymore?
I don't remember my very first time watching this, what I thought. But I think possibly I already knew or suspected from the description of the movie.
Oh, does the movie describe that part of it?
You read a description of the movie?
I don't remember. This was how many years ago? Like 6 years ago? No, I watched it with Ashley in college.
Yeah.
But it was at the, towards the end of a very long marathon of Digimon movies, so I don't really remember that experience.
Silly, yeah.
Silly us. We didn't know we'd be on a Digimon podcast.
Yeah, we didn't know. We had no idea.
But I think the way it was set up in the description made me suspicious to start with. Like, I definitely knew going in this time, because I've seen the movie, but...
Oh, really? Because I definitely had seen the movie before this time, but, like... just completely forgotten about this angle of it.
Oh.
which I don't think is a good... I think it's a bad sign for the movie that, like, it stuck so little that I'd forgotten about that completely. But I guess I have bad memory in general.
I definitely have bad memory.
Angie, did you remember that aspect of it before we were watching?
Yes.
Oh. West Coast just erodes your memory, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
I mean,
But I mean, also, I don't know. I think it is a neat portrayal. I mean, unfortunately, it's undercut later on. But like, I think it totally makes sense that someone could manufacture that conflict and it spiral out from there. Not to connect everything to One Piece, but it reminds me a lot of
yes, you do.
The Alabasta arc and
oh yes, the Alabasta arc.
and how that. I mean, it's frustrating because like that, I think is the manufactured conflict there, and the like whether that conflict leads to war is, I think, handled much more gravitas. I mean, of course, it's not a 40-minute OVA. It's a like a super long-running arc that was a huge deal. But the premise of that in One Piece, the Alabasta arc, is that basically there's someone behind the scenes constructing a conflict, and the princess is trying to prevent that conflict from happening because she has won her country to suffer tons of casualties, which is like totally fair, and it's all about like trying to like prevent this undermining of her country. And it's kind of like,
well, there's also a huge drought.
Right. I forgot about the parameters. It's because like there's conflict because of the drought, which is part of manufacture.
Also manufactured.
Right, it's part of the manufacturing of the conflict. But yeah, I feel like that handles the gravitas so that you're like, if the war actually breaks out, that is already failure. And whereas this is like, yeah, war's going on, just like, well, whatever. But I don't know. It really doesn't. What doesn't make sense of this movie is that like after, I mean, like we pointed out in the recap, after this war has been going on, there's tons of casualties already. It feeds back on itself. So like just having found out that someone was behind it initially shouldn't just solve all the problems. It should still be like, you still killed my brother, you still killed my son. Like, no, like, and yeah.
But I mean, that's also kind of how Romeo and Juliet ends too.
Oh, really?
Like they die and suddenly the houses are like, okay, we gotta stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were wrong.
Well, I think also the Prince of Verona steps in, but we don't have that so much here. But I mean, if you make the Prince of Verona ancient Greymon and ancient Garurumon, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And another aspect that I like of the isn't necessarily about the conflict, but just about the, I guess the stone tablet or the mural, whatever that the movie kind of centers around, isn't actually a prophecy. I guess it's kind of a prophecy. It's kind of a like, here are instructions to revive this thing. And ideally, the way the prophecies would be handled in fiction are as actual entities in the world. That there's a reason for the foretelling. But in Digimon, they're always just presented as like basically infoed up from the writers, from the perspective of the writer, that like, here's a scenario that's going to happen. And there's no reason that the characters would have any way of knowing that. There's no mechanic that foretells the future or anything. It's just, here is a prophecy. It exists for no reason, completely, just because the writer said so. But this quote unquote prophecy is, I think, the closest to not being that, because it is, the thing I like about it is it is misconstrued for a while. That because the wall is partially destroyed, they misinterpret it, and they think that ancient Greymon and ancient Garurumon are ancestors, are descendant of Ornismon, when what the thing was actually displaying was them defeating Ornismon. And I think that's a cool concept, that it's actually plausible that there would be this mural of them defeating Ornismon, which, because it's missing key components, will be misread as Ornismon being great because they're its ancestor. I like that. I don't know if it's enough to redeem the other things that you guys have complained about, but it is a neat aspect. I feel like Digimon has never, whenever it handles prophecies, it always handles them poorly, and this is maybe the one time where it handles a prophecy kind of interestingly. Not enough to
Digimon
really
prophecies
care.
are never interesting. Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
I also kind of feel like it's weird that, because so much of the movie is framing human versus beasts, that when it has ancient Greymon, ancient Garurumon, like putting them on two opposing sides of the mural and all the imagery and everything, it doesn't explicitly say Ancient Greymon was humanoid and Ancient Garurumon was beast-like, but I think it's kind of going for that. Did anyone else get the vibe?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and definitely it's pretty contrived at first when Takuya, well, it's not contrived. Takuya turns into a Gunimon to reason with the humans, and Koji turns into kind of Gurumon to reason with the beast type Digimon. So I guess there's a reason they did it. They transformed into the different types to reason with that side, but I think they're definitely angling Takuya, or the Greymon variants, as being more humanoid, and the Garurumon variants as being more beast-like, which is true. I mean, like, if you look at Greymon and Garurumon, that is, well, no, Greymon's a dinosaur. Dinosaurs are beasts. So it's entirely fit, but...
That's why I thought Dynahuman was a beast.
But it's human, Ashley.
Oh my god, that's just a dumb name.
But anyway, what I find frustrating is that I guess it's not really the fault of this movie, it's the fault of Frontier in general, that even if you kind of have Greymon as being the more humanoid one and Garurumon being the more beast-like one, that all of the fused, and I forget what they're called, the Unity spirits, whatever, like the Aldemon, Beowulfmon, Magna Garurumon, and Emperor Greymon, all four of those forms where they've combined the human and beast spirits are all humanoid. And it's just like, it does not treat, like, the series as a whole does not treat human and beast-type Digimon as equals. It treats the humanoid ones as being cooler than the beast-type ones, and the beast ones are like kind of an accessory for just that arc where they need a second set of evolutions.
Well, to be honest, they only made two. They only made two Unity evolutions, so if they made, like 4 more, we might have a different answer to that, but they got lazy.
I guess, but it's not, equal that you combine human and beast and it is more beast-like. I guess what you're saying is that, like, 2 of them could be more humanoid and the other ones could be more beast-like, which I guess is true as in the other forms. They're not revealed in the anime, but...
They don't exist.
Oh, there are ones that don't exist?
Most of, like, they only did the ones for the kids up to the fusion one, and then there's no Unity one.
Right, there's no Unity ones, yeah, that makes sense. But the fusions don't exist for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was just a couple scattered thoughts about beasts and humans. Unanswered questions.
Why does the book know anything?
What are these machines? Where did they come from?
It's a machine
Why
Digimon.
are they colored like this? What is happening?
Why are they named tacos?
So to clarify that, because I don't know if I've cut it out or not, if you go to the Digimon Wiki page for the movie and look at the list of characters, it splits them up by types, like human, fresh, rookie, champion, blah, 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 blah. And there is, if you scroll all the way to the right of this feature character section, there is an other category which lists the names of the tanks. And there's Tacos, Tortoise, Pinocchio, Yubo, and Arca.
It's not even Pinocchio, it's Pinocchi.
True. Yeah, I don't know in what sense they are named, like
visually, sort of.
I mean,
vaguely.
Are the names displayed on their machines?
I don't know. The quality of the English dub is so bad because it's from a .mov file from like 10 years ago.
Well, sure. But yeah, so I'm not sure if there's actually, like, in the movie itself, in like accessory things, like, I don't know.
Probably a pamphlet that they
that's
hand
what I'm
out.
thinking of. So yeah, that's a strange aspect of it. My biggest unanswered question, I mean, it's bogus that it's a super silly and contrived thing. They say the only way to get off the island is to revive Ornismon, right? Mm-hmm. First of all, Why? Is that a thing? Second of all, they then kill Ornismon. Do they get off the island?
No.
They're stuck on the island forever.
I think that's just like, I mean, since this isn't canon, right? It's a separate continuity. Maybe in this continuity they just stay on the island forever.
Well,
In
debatable.
the continuity, they're there forever.
Yeah, like Andrew said, it is debatable with separate continuity. It could technically fit into there is a position in the series it could be placed into.
Also, Pokemon says at some point that some Digimon is thought to be extinct. And I'm like, wait, how does a Digimon go extinct? What is this mechanic?
Well, they have a survey agency that, is monitoring the population of all the Digimon around the world.
How about it? Yeah,
Totally.
cool.
Any other answer questions?
No. Just why this whole movie? Why?
Yeah, that whole extinct thing is literally just like, it's... Do you remember which Digimon they're talking about?
I mean,
Probably
I think it
Myrmixmon.
was
No, wait.
Myrmixmon, yeah.
Yeah, that is. I wonder if that's like a relic of the dub or in the original script too, because that really just feels like, oh, we're on a lost island, therefore extinct Digimon, or like just that like aspect of this is a separate evolutionary biology, so there are things that we thought were extinct that could be evolving here, but that concept doesn't make sense in Digimon, and also. I mean, but I guess also Digimon is just digital. You could just say that it's like everything's digital. You can just write away all complaints like that. Like, yeah, we know they're extinct or not because there's a flag. There is data about the world. Everyone knows the number of Digimon of that type. But also, that seems like it should be a common thing. Like, you know, like there's if there's one Lucemon, like
it also doesn't.
Yeah,
you make Lucemon extinct, but also like that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't there always be the possibility that somebody could become Lucemon? Like,
don't question Digimon.
No, never Digimon your differences.
Ridiculous dialogue draft, baby.
Where we each go around and pick our funniest, most ridiculous, or most touching lines from this movie. We'll only do one because it's a short movie that's not that
Actually,
good.
It wasn't that funny.
It's not even that funny. It has nothing going for it. Who should go first? Who has the least?
Asher is supposed to decide.
I have 3.
I have
I
2.
have 4.
Whoa.
I have 4.
I guess Asher should go first then.
All right. I like this non-random way of doing it. Okay.
You have to pick between your two. How will you do it?
I don't know, because neither of them are very funny.
Well, it
Neither of
doesn't
them are
have to be
good.
funny.
Yeah,
Neither-
it could be touching.
Well. Yeah.
Touchy.
Man. All right. This one.
Beast.
What?
Beast.
No. So when they're doing the puzzle, quote unquote, they start making a lot of puzzle jokes, and Zoe tops it off, saying, you know, in true Zoe fashion,
You know what's really puzzling is that you thought of this yourselves.
it's like, okay.
Okay.
Is that even a pun? Like, that's just...
I had that written down too. Don't worry, Asher.
Okay, thank you for validating me.
Yeah, I validated your
I
pick.
mean, I'll validate in the sense like, wow, that's really bad.
Okay, Andrew
All right.
had 3, so he can go next.
Okay, I think this is I don't remember where this was, but I'm assuming it's also around that time. So it's another thing between JP and Zoe. And JP says,
My body isn't built for this kind of work.
JP, you say that about every kind of work.
That's just
Yeah.
mean. That's just mean-spirited.
That's just mean. Yeah. All right, Jeff, you want to fight me? You want to go next?
You can go next.
Okay, cool.
I want you to pick one of mine. So
I'm going to pick one. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to pick one that was personally funny to me, which was just Lobomon running, and he says,
Man, this is way too much work. And that is one gaudy battleship.
and I was like, yes. Love you, Lobomon.
I
Glad you called that out.
I actually did have that written down because like the delivery and like
Oh, yeah.
there was kind of like a serious tone, and then it's just like, yeah, that battleship really is gaudy. Like,
It's super gaudy. I'm so glad he called it out.
I'm trying to like I want to mention the one of these I don't pick. I think I'll pick the ones that's funnier for the actual draft though, and then I'll just like state the other one.
Okay.
Okay. So the one I'm picking as my draft pick is I forget who they're actually going to fight. I guess it is Ornismon, but I forget at what point in the movie it actually is. So it might be that they're attacking Hippogriffmon or something. But it's definitely something with wings that is important. But I think this is funnier out of context because in context it makes some sense, and then they kind of follow it up in a way that makes sense. But I like it out of context, which they're Kumamon, Ferrymon, and Beetlemon they've all digivolved into those forms, and they're about to go attack. And Kumamon's like,
Now I'm mad! Let's get him!
Who's up for fried chicken?
because they're going to attack the bird form, but it just
Whoa, I don't even remember that.
I have the fried chicken part,
it just sounds like JP's randomly asking about fried chicken. So
but they also respond to it.
right, it keeps going, and it is less. I think it's funnier out of context because in context it's like, yeah, they're talking about frying a chicken, they're talking about fighting a bird. But because at first I was like, wait, what?
Have you ever tried punching a bird?
Is that a real question?
That's a Pokemon-related question.
Is that
Wait, what? I'm confused.
Ashley was gonna be like, yes, that's a real question.
It's a joke. They were trying to explain Pokemon types and why is fighting bad against flying? And the joke is, have you ever tried to punch a bird?
Huh.
It's very hard to do.
It's an awkward
Interesting.
zombie comic.
I guess that is hard to do.
I couldn't.
Huh. Interesting. Anyway, but my other thing, I'm not using as a draft pick, but it's just such an absurd situation is at the end. And I had to keep rewinding to figure out this is actually what's going on. But I think it's right when it goes off screen and you don't see them. But Zoe proposes as one of the final lines, we could stay here and help clean it up. Talking about the, all the wreckage or whatever. And then there's just sounds of Takuya vomiting. And then JP says, ugh, can we start with my shirt? And then Takuya says, sorry. And I'm like, is that actually the implication is actually that Takuya threw up after hearing the words we can clean? That's so absurd. I can understand Takuya making fake vomiting noises, but then JP actually being there's vomit on my shirt. Absurd.
I didn't get that from that, but I thought that Junpei just had a lot of dirt on his shirt. I don't know.
But then why would Takuya apologize?
Oh, I guess I didn't catch Takuya's apology.
It's like a shameful sorry. It makes no sense. Why would I was gonna say adult, but I guess Takuya's not an adult. So why would a teen vomit upon hearing the word clean? It is time for
Terminal Judgment!
Yes. Any last thoughts about this movie before I round it up?
Nope.
It's a movie, all right.
Do you have any differing opinions from the beginning? Do you all still think it is bleh?
Yes.
It is definitely the weakest movie.
I think you all worn me out. Not that you worn me out, but I mean my initial optimism has been worn out, and now I'm I guess it is meh.
I'm glad.
That's what happens when you're wrong.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're wrong and you listen to people who are correct.
I think it's mostly that I think it is a good movie until you pick it up, until you talk about it for coming up on 3 hours.
No, even watching it was kind of what is happening?
Who are all these people?
Exactly.
Why?
What?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is not good as a movie on its own.
So it's not good as anything, is what you're saying.
I think it works as a Digimon
To be
movie.
fair, no anime tie-in movie would be good.
As a standalone movie.
Yes, the tie-in ones.
Yeah, you're not saying any anime movie is not good, but are you including our war game in that?
Yeah.
I think that's borderline. You don't know the characters and everything,
I mean,
but
our war game. Actually, the best one would be just Digimon Adventure, the first one.
I guess there's not much of a story there,
Because
but it does stand alone.
It is definitely good as a standalone movie, but it's still really short.
Yeah.
Boring. Snooze.
The last point that I just wanted to, because it hasn't come up at all, and I thought it was interesting to at least note that it's mostly came up because I was reading a plot summary, and I was like, wait, that didn't happen in the dub. And so in the dub, they cut out the final scene that shows Kotemon coming back and a reunion between Bearmon and Kotemon, which...
Yeah, oh
Yeah.
my god, wait, the screenshot is adorable. I have to upload it.
I think they would have had to do that because it tied in pretty intricately to the ending credits and song, and the I assume they couldn't get the I forget what song. I think it's Fire is playing during the credits, and they're not going to get the license to Fire to play for this one airing of the movie dubbed, and
It aired at least twice.
well, you know what I mean. That it wasn't meant. They're not going to. They didn't have it for the original series. They're not going to get it for the movie, and so they, I guess, couldn't, because at the end of the dub movie, they just play a credit sequences like the rest of Frontier TV, which is has the scrolling credits on the left and clips on the right, and it is weird. But that would have been weirder with the way the credits roll in Japanese, is that it shows the kids initially lined up, and then you zoom out and you see it's a mural, and you zoom out even further and you see that Bearmon is looking at the mural of all the kids and what they did in this adventure, but Bearmon's standing there alone, and it's oh, he's sad, but he's looking at the adventure and is happy. But then Kotemon appears, and then it's yay, they're reunited. And
Look, I ship them. They're the best.
actually, we didn't come up on the podcast at all, but we were talking before about how you were looking on the TV tropes page for if there was anything in the TV tropes classification for a star-crossed lover trope that is not romantic, because that...
Yeah, but no, it's in TV tropes. It just lists them as star-crossed lovers and then is but they're friends. Nice try.
It seems like it should be a more intrinsic. I bet there are more stories. I bet there is room for that to be a TV trope century, actually, because like.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just not flagged because whoever, like, people looking at the Digimon movie don't know what it is.
No, I just feel
or
like,
whatever. So
well, I think there just might not. There are going to be things that haven't been TV tropesatized. Like I think there are. I mean, I don't know much about the culture of making TV tropes pages, but I assume there are always things that could. I mean, they definitely also are. It's not like everything has been charted in that territory. And I just suspect this has to be because if you're making a movie for kids where friendship is, not a movie, but like any kind of media, where friendship is such an important aspect of most stories, it seems like taking the Romeo and Juliet, the West Side Story formula of people from different sides of town that don't get along, but they actually are friends, but that's a secret to their tribes. That has to be like a more.
I mean, but yeah, that's why I was like, why is this not tagged in Fox and the Hound? But I couldn't see anything in Fox and the Hound that was.
But even in addition to that, you do ship them romantically. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't want to, but like they are really cute. Like, look at it. Oh, it's so cute, Huggy. Oh.
Okay.
Also, Kotamon's voice reminded me of somebody's voice. It took me a while to place it. They're not the same voice actress, but it reminded me of the Ruby who has the like everything is so cool in Steven Universe voice. You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay.
I mean, what you just did sounded familiar.
The one that came in a recent episode, I know we're not caught up, but like a recent episode where the Ruby was like, I'm trying to find my ship. And then they're like, oh, you like us. Like, we'll be nice to you. And then it like steals the ship from Peridot and what's her face? Lapis. Yeah. They're like, oh, we got deceived.
Well, the voice actress that played Kotemon was Bathhouse Girl #1 in God of War 2, so that's probably what you're thinking of.
Oh my, yeah, that's definitely it. Definitely.
Yeah, it looks like she hasn't played too many prominent roles. I'm thinking there are a lot of roles.
No, I think it was something about the like breathiness of it or whatever.
The breathiness of the wild. Sorry, that's a bad joke.
No, Jeffrey.
We need to lock in our MVPs for our fantasy draft, which I'm not going to explain it in depth because we're running long on time. And sorry if you're listening. This is the first episode of Podigious you're listening to because it's not going to make any sense, but it's kind of too late to enter at this point anyway because this is the last round. So, yeah, we're going to pick our favorite characters. Ashley, what's your favorite character?
Oh, man. It's kind of hard.
This movie sucked, but there were just so many characters that I liked.
No, I like them as, like, Digimon. I think I'm actually going to go with Dino Human because I like that he's just a Ninja Turtle.
Asher?
Kotemon, because he's the only one who did anything effective.
Effective in dying?
Yeah!
Wow.
Only one.
Wow. I'll approve because Kotemon's cute.
Okay, since I've mostly been negative, I guess I should also mention that I find it really frustrating how Kotemon's death, like, for no reason explained in the narrative of the movie itself, brings back Ancient Greymon, Ancient Garurumon.
Also, like, it's never addressed again. It's just like, suddenly everything's fine. It's like, this kid just died. All right.
It was necessary. Andrew?
Bearmon? Question mark?
I'm surprised that wasn't an answer already.
He's cute, too. Yeah. He was my other choice.
Because I have to go with Ash.
Oh, you have to match me?
I have to match you.
Oh, you're romantically paired now? Do you look that cute when you hug?
I'm gonna go with this. This might be controversial, but I'm gonna go with Darkmon.
Wow. You would say that.
Darkmon does nothing.
Darkmon did nothing wrong, guys.
Darkmon?
You just falsely vilify her.
I didn't vilify her.
Well,
I just said she does nothing.
I basically, I mostly like the design.
Neither good nor bad.
I mostly like the design. I also think that it, is a rare case in Digimon of having a compelling twist, even though it's full of issues as we discussed. But That's basically it. And I have a problem in media where like there'll be an initial representation of something, whether it's a relationship or a character, and I'll like graft to that very strongly. And then later they will show that not to be the case. I'll be like, I'll still have that first impression very firm. So I'm like, that first impression of Darkmon being the voice of reason and being the only one who's smart enough to like see above the conflict, which is not actually what her character is at all. I still kind of like, even though it's totally an act. Kind of a weird act too, because like, why would she do that? Aside from, I guess it gives her more credibility when she later is like, guys, let's fight. But her goal is to get them fighting. So like, why would being a voice of reason, say not fighting, actually help that cause? Kind of weird.
No, I was very confused.
That doesn't
I don't
make
know.
sense.
Yeah.
I was very confused. I was so confused to a point that I thought I had made it up. And like I had to rewatch the beginning to be like, wait, I didn't make that up.
I could see some convoluted logic that like by being by like controlling the central point of that resistance to the fighting, that they could undermine it. But
I think I understand the logic of how it happened. I think in the movie I was not able to buy the jump from her saying that to we're going to destroy the Beast Digimon.
And there's so much other stuff going on that it's like, wait, that's the same one that was saying the thing before, right? And it's like everything's kind of
really. Like, I was like, what?
There's too many unnamed characters and everything that you're like, that could be someone else. Like, I don't know. I don't believe myself anymore that I thought it was her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Goodbye, Island Lost Digimon. You were.
Yeah. Bye.
You were okay.
You were a thing.
You existed.
You were a waste of 40 minutes of my life.
Oh, Aster's crying. I'm gonna give him a hug.
Are we gonna cover X Evolution?
That is, I guess, the next thing to cover after the
When are we covering
after
next?
the whole season thingy.
We're doing retrospective.
Yeah, we're gonna do the whole frontier.
First, right? Okay, yeah.
But
We are doing that.
maybe just a closing thought. Maybe I am just more susceptible to pretty animation because it's an aspect we haven't talked about at all. The animation is pretty. It looked nice.
It was nice, yeah.
Recommendation, articulation. Ashley, you have 1 minute to plug your hug.
Okay. I'm gonna be controversial and say that I'm gonna go with Dimension W manga.
Oh!
I mean, you should. It's published by a company that Jeff doesn't work at.
No, I meant that the anime bored me enough that the manga will too.
The anime was not boring. It just goes too fast and squanders its premise. It's a different problem. Also, you can watch the opening of the anime as many times as you want because it's dope and you should. Anyway, I like Dimension W because I think it does have a compelling enough premise. The art is actually good. Apparently the author did character designs for the Darker Than Black anime, so that's something. And I just like Kiyoma, who is the main character, who is cool, and he's also so tsundere, and I love him. Period. I'm done.
Okay, Ash, you have 1 minute to plug your hug.
I don't think I have one this week. I've been a little swamped. I've been swamped! It's finals season.
Just recommend. We didn't recommend My Hero Academia, right?
Oh, but everybody's heard of that already.
So
People could be interested in what you like about it. And people
It's
who've heard about
okay.
it might not be like compelled to actually watch it.
Nah, it's okay.
Shut up, leave him alone, Andrew.
Okay, Andrew, 1 minute to plug your hug.
I'm sort of doing two, I guess. I mean, it's the same thing, but the Kase-san manga, it's cute love story between two girls in high school. One's a gardening club and the other one is a track team star. They're both girls, I guess. So Yuri. It has a beautifully animated short music video thing that came out like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And they're cute. Support them.
Support the girls.
Support the girls in their love, I guess.
Okay, I'm confused. Wait, so this is a manga?
Yes, it's a manga. It had a few weeks ago there was a video that just popped up on like YouTube which adapts like parts of the first 2 volumes.
Oh, okay. That's a weird thing.
It's probably all we're ever going to get for an adaptation.
Okay, I am going to recommend something I actually have been like strategically choosing what to recommend on feedback episodes versus main episodes based on whether Ash was present. So I've been waiting to recommend this one for when Ash is present. I'm curious if you heard about it. It's called The Good Place.
Ask Jeff loves you.
And
The what?
So it's a sitcom. I think it aired on NBC originally, but it's on Hulu now. And it's a fairly short. I think it's only like I forget how many, like 13 episodes. But the premise is it is set in a fictionalized version of heaven. It's basically set in the afterlife, and it's about characters who go to, there's the good place and the bad place, and it's about characters who go to the good place. And it is, it's kind of agnostic to religion. It's basically like in the opening minutes, they say that like, oh yeah, every religion got heaven like 5% right. And it's really interesting. It's about morality, and it's about basically a character who was supposed to go to the bad place, but got accidentally mixed up and sent to the good place, and is like kept being told that she is an amazing person when she's actually not an amazing person. It's about her kind of learning morals and stuff. And there is a really compelling twist at the end of the season that is worth watching. And I'm really excited for season 2 because of that compelling twist. And it is definitely worth watching. And it is just a fun, upbeat sitcom too. And yeah.
Apparently it stars Kristen Bell.
That too.
Remember her, Ash?
Vaguely.
What was she in?
Veronica Pluto, I think.
Mars.
It was a joke. You can find the full show notes and comment thread for this episode at podigious.com/407. Jump in the comments to let us know what you thought about this episode, like who you thought was cuter, Kodemon or Bearmon. But you can also go to the episode page to vote on your favorite ridiculous dialogue draft pick and to rate how much you liked the movie. You can also let us know your thoughts via social media, email, or with the Will thread, the Digimon subreddit thread for this episode, or by posing as two different Digimon to spark a war between two conflicting I started bringing it to a racial place, and no, don't do that. Don't do that in order to send us feedback. Just leave a comment.
Prevent that, and then you can leave us feedback that way.
If you want to be featured on the next feedback episode, you can also answer our voicemail question. Would you rather be a human Digimon or a beast Digimon, and why? You can either call 913-CALUMON if you're in the US, or email an audio recording of 90 seconds or less to podigious@gmail.com.
Our Agunimon artwork this season is by Jubia Majo on DeviantArt.
Podigious is made possible with your support on Patreon, including support from our champion Patramon, Diabjomon, the infamous Tokujo on Twitter, Joe Keto, Kailunamon, Kaiser Washi, Michael Penne, and Red from fellow Digimon podcast, Breakfast with Digimon, our ultimate Patramon, Alvaro Crimson Mode, David Grauman, and our mega Patramon, Marcus and Sam Kruagamon, who's on the Moncast, which compares Pokemon and Digimon, and would like you to check out his partner's Tumblr. I'm gonna get it right this time. purple-pixel.tumblr.com. Woo me, yes! Cute drawings are there.
I think I usually cut out you like messing that up every time, so it's just gonna sound like you
really?
Randomly are victorious.
Well, it's gonna be funny that way. Yeah.
I said a thing I always say the same way, but yay!
Yes! I'm so good at this.
If you want to be cool like them, then you too can become a Patreon. For $1 a month, you can join our private group chat on Slack, where lately we have been talking about politics, which I guess by the time this episode comes out will be a while ago, but that will always be true, unfortunately, probably. Politics. You can also get cool stuff like commentary tracks and behind-the-scene notes for $3 a month, a new sticker and button every month for $10 a month, ability to choose episode topics for $15, and a monthly Skype hangout with me and Ashley for $25 a month.
You can find Podigious on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to keep up with the Digimons, hear about upcoming episodes and recordings, and get funny Digimon images and GIFs. You can find me, sort of, on Asher Dashery at Tumblr. You can find Ashley on Twitter at
AshMickey00, and I must say that I sometimes enjoy seeing all of Asher's revlogs of weird random things I only half understand.
I have excellent taste in things that Ashley doesn't like. Jeff's on Twitter at
Definitely Jeff.
And Andrew's on Twitter at
Definitely Jeff too.
Geoff.
Drew Softman, share the podcast with your friends who will die for love, but don't share the podcast with your friends who won't cry when you die.
And join us next time as we wrap up Frontier with a retrospective look at the whole season. Bye!
Bye!
And remember, never stop digivolving.
They literally named it Bird. I'm pretty sure that's what.
Whatever. At least he's not Bearmon and wearing a hat that says bears.
I like how
Big
Ornismon's type is Ancient Bird, and I'm also like, that just is what you are. You just are Ancient Bird.
Oh, it's also called The Passion of John d'Arc in French.
You know, it's not pronounced John, right?
It's Jean, Andrew.
Jean
Jean.
Valjean.
Yeah.
Who am I?
I'm sorry, I don't recognize that unless you sing it.
Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean.
I don't even know what's happening.
Shut up, number
24601.
Shut up, 24601.
Are we ready yet?
I still say that we should just have a list of, we should go around and be like, what did it remind you of that was better than this?
Oh, God.
So many things, right?
So many things. I would have to, prepare, and nobody warned me.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean,
Wait, we're doing Coastal Clash immediately after intro? What's happening here? No,
you made that.
I did not.
I mean, I guess usually I rearrange it. As much as that idea sounds appealing at first, what I worry about it is that it goes down the only approaching media as a list of TV tropes angle. You know, that it's all that would essentially be doing is listing out TV tropes pages.
Yep, but that's what it was. That's literally what the movie was.
but that's what but the problem is once you start looking at it from that angle, everything is that. Any movie you can. What you're saying is this was more tropey than most.
Was
but at that point where you're just listing things that aspects of it that remind you of other things, it every movie you can do that for. And I think the difference between this and and everything else is not just in the things you can list that it reminds you of. There's something more that makes it feel unoriginal.
not listening to you. I don't care.
Shalom Aleichem.
You're just messing things up now.
Wait, is that not how it goes?
I think you were just singing Hava Nagila.
Oh, I've done this before.
Yeah, I think you have.
What kind of tunes would Shalom Aleichem go to?
Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem.
Have we scared Ashley off?
Something like that.
Ugh, you Jews.
You beast Digimon.
Ashley, you realize this movie was about Judaism, right?
It was not about Judaism.
I could make it about Judaism, probably.
Yeah, we
Wasn't
can
thinking
make it
about
about
it. Wasn't thinking about it, but I could make anything about Judaism.
Why are these children so excited? They need to calm
Lavender.
down.
They're excited about
Lavender.
Lavender.
It's just so lavender.
Lavender.
The Royal Knights?
you know what this movie could have used?
The Royal Knights?
No.
No?
No. Let's do our whole intro again and pretend that we're genuine in our responses.
Aren't we always pretending to be genuine, Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Podigious, episode 407, Darkness Before the Dawn. Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
You
Okay. Welcome to Podigious, episode 407, Darkness Before the Yawn. Podigious is your critically nostalgic analytical tour through the Digimon anime. I'm Jeff Ruberg, and I'm joined by awkwardly named Trailmon, but no, I messed this up. And I'm joined by fellow awkwardly named Trailmon Ball. No. I'm Jeff Ruberg, and I'm joined by my fellow Trailmon Balls. I didn't need to say balls that way.
This is gonna be the best outro ever.
Did we just lose somebody?
I'm still here.
We did.
Wait, no.
It was
someone just died.
Andrew died.
What happened?
He was like, I'm so disgusted.
He said, "Oops." Wait, how is he still in the text chat?
He's still in the text chat, but we need to add him back to the call.
What happened? What did I miss?
Did you disconnect yourself?
Yep.
Okay.
Was it because Jeffrey called us Trailmon balls?
No. It's not that I called you Trailmon balls. 'Cause I did it last time too. It's that I said my this time, and I like emphasized the balls way too much. My Trailmon balls.
Trailmon balls.
Anyway, the title in English is I Am the Lost Digimon, but in Japanese it is the revival. Actually, how do things? It's a revival of Ancient Digimon, the revival of Ancient Digimon, or whatever. But the weird thing, I don't know. It seems weird to me because I don't think I've seen it in titles before. But there's a thing generally, and I think it's done a lot in manga in particular, is to have, because it's not just, if you look at the Japanese text, it says like the kanji is revival of Ancient Digimon, but basically it provides a reading for how to read the kanji, and the kanji for Ancient Digimon was actually Ancient is kanji and then Digimon is katakana, but the reading it provides for Ancient Digimon is actually Ornismon. So it's explicitly like revival of Ornismon, which is kind of a weird thing. I don't know why they do that, but I guess technically the Japanese name is both revival of Ancient Digimon and revival of Ornismon. That's kind of just random trivia.
Nobody cares.
People like me care. Wait. Okay, sorry. This is a total tangent, but it'll probably go in the outro segment anyway. So, would you describe your reaction to this movie with a grunt? Just like an
Doesn't even deserve that from me.
Why?
Can you just go along with it? You agree that you would describe this movie with a grunt? That's how you would react in the movie?
Okay.
So you'd say...
That requires too much energy.
So would you say this movie is Digimon Frontier or Digimon Grunt tier?
No.
No. What? I'm sorry. My Google things are telling me I'm not online. Oh, now it's back. Okay. What the hell?
Okay. That was an amazing joke, and no one... I'm going to insert a laugh track there, just so...
Okay. Great.
Oh, it's the most absurd laugh track.
We're a Seinfeld podcast now.
So I finished looking into I got a screenshot of the thing that I thought was the D Reaper agent. Let me post it in Slack, because it is not the D Reaper agent.
I'm fairly certain that's not a thing. I think I know what you were thinking of, but maybe not.
I mean, I too thought it was associated. So it's actually it's like a bird attached to the Scarecrow Digimon, Nohemon.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were thinking of.
Which,
I mean, the wings kind of do look like one.
Right, the
but
wings look
it's
very
not.
similar, like in style. Like it has a similar style. I mean, that's not actually the best example because the Jerry type D Reaper has more that same color, and so yeah, it's not that similar, but enough that in the background I was like, oh,
It's Jerry.
What's Jerry doing there? Because it's on screen for half a second. So, but yeah, if you look up the Scarecrow Digimon Nohemon, it's just a part of Nohemon, which has a face made of what's it actually called? Nohe something Moji, whatever.
The word for face, maybe, or human. What is it?
There's a specific face you can make with just hiragana characters that is used on the face of the scarecrows. It's the he. There are two eyes made with a he hiragana, and nose made with no, and then I forget how it actually he no. Oh, come on.
Yeah, they were in Tamers as well.
Yeah, they were in Tamers, and I thought at that point they weren't a named Digimon. It was just a scarecrow thing. Wait.
Yes.
I don't think Asher's seen my joke. It's the best joke.
You're a joke.
I said on Twitter.
Jeff is a joke.
I said, if people insist on pronouncing GIF as GIF, then shouldn't we also pronounce JPEG as GayPeg? And yeah. Let's move on.
End of story.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Romeo X Juliet?
I only saw part of that, but it looked cute.
It was good. I really liked it.
It's weird.
I liked its
I'm
weirdness.
okay with weird.
Wasn't what's her name from Hamlet a villain at one point?
I don't remember that
Ophelia? I only
Yes.
got 4 episodes in.
I mean,
If that.
it has Juliet masquerading as a boy, and one of the big reveals is that, what are the two family names?
The Capulets and the Montagues.
I mean, this is...
Oh wait, Ophelia was the main villain.
You
Wait.
just spoiled the entire show for me.
Yeah, I was about to say here's a major spoiler, but you had another one, obviously.
You just jumped right to it.
I mean, the spoiler
So this series is like 10 years old.
that is not.
I can do what I want.
The mark of a spoiler is not how old a series is, whether people have watched it yet or not and want to watch it. And generally,
If you haven't watched it, it's your own damn fault.
I maybe having been reminded of it, I would have gone and watched
Actually,
it.
I think it just got added to Crunchyroll. So
See, you ruined it, Andrew.
You can't ruin something that's already a mess.
but okay,
You're a mess.
I want to spoil part
Yes,
of
I
it.
am.
There's a part that I want to spoil that, like, I don't think actually is like a huge. I don't think it would ruin the series if you know, but it's my go-to example of why the series is absurd and I loved it. And it is that, like, head Montague guy is actually a Capulet, and
Ooh.
I don't even
now
remember
you
that.
ruined it. Thanks.
Now you
but it's an intriguing kind of ruin, right? I hope.
No.
Oh, I mean, I don't think that like undercuts. It was just like, I don't know. I like to use that as a way to sell the series because it's like, if you think it's just the typical Romeo and Juliet retelling, it's not. It's anime to the and it's
Honestly, the first 4 episodes are the best part. So you're not missing much.
I don't even think there was like a tree at that point. Anyway, okay, back off of Romeo and Juliet, which I need to make Ashley watch at some point.
I don't know. Even taking screenshots, there's actually a lot of use of like shaky cam things that make the frames themselves blurry when you pause them. That sure in animation looks nice, but it was actually fairly annoying.
Okay, well that's not the way people experience the media is not through stills in VLC players. So
It is how I experience Digimon.
I mean, it's kind of because that's not. There is a class of people who, when trying to prove the animation is bad, will take a screenshot of a still of something that's clearly meant to look good in motion, and then be like, "Look how bad the animation is." And it's like, yes, this thing is squashed or compressed or stretched because that's a principle of animation that you make the character go off model to effectively convey mechanics and motion and whatever. It's so frustrating. I mean, but it's also just inherent to like, there's so many things you can't convey in a single image. There's a similar problem to like, people will take screenshots, like they'll watch anime that has bad CGI and they're like, oh, that looks so bad, and take a screenshot of it and share it and then be like, look how bad this looks. And it's like, when you're used to seeing it in motion, you forget that as a still, CGI animation generally looks pretty good, and it's only the motion that looks jarring and weird that makes it look really bad. And I see so many people share a still and be like, look how bad the CGI looks, and it's like, you don't realize that without the context of having seen it in motion recently, it looks fine. Well, Ash is supposed to have a share bit.
we have to share a bit.
But
Share the podcast with your friends who will die for love. And don't share the podcast with your friends who won't cry when you die.
wait, I thought you were going to say like who instigate conflict or something.
No.
But
That part was not important.
Asher, would you die for me?
Ash, I will die for you.
Aw.
But will you cry?
Asher's like, I'm not dying for any of you.
Yeah, you should have seen the face I just made at my computer.
Oh, man. Mean. So mean.